So welcome back to Unit 1, Module 1, Lesson 2. We're going to look at how do you actually go ahead and create a script from start to finish. So we're going to create a sample one. First thing you're going to do is log in. After you've logged in, you want to click here to create a new script. And you're going to get this window pop up. And we're going to name it Sandbox, because it's a place that we're going to play in. I'm going to name it Sandbox_0. It's the first sandbox that we have, so I'm going to call it number 0 because in computer science we always start counting at 0, not at 1. We'll talk more about that later. It's a Python script, so I'm going to click Create. And I get my script. I get my 4 sections, and as you recall, the 4 sections are the comment section, the setup section, the music section, and of course the finish section. So what we're going to do is start with a command. This is called fit media. And this is actually what's called a function. This is the word we use in computer science to represent some collection of code that is going to do something for us. We don't exactly have to know how it does it. That's called black box idea, where you don't have to know how something functions in order to use it. Like, you don't have to know exactly how your car works in order to drive it. Then we're going to pick a sound. So we're going to find the sounds by clicking up here on the headphones. And we're going to find a sound. You can choose different artists or genres or instruments. I chose a drum. And if we want to hear what it sounds like, we can hit this play button. That sounds okay. And I'm going to highlight and copy. And I'm going to close that window so it's out of the way. I'm going to paste that in. So now we have our sound. That's the first thing that goes in. The next thing that goes in is the track. So whenever you're dealing with audio, you can lay down different tracks. You can have 3 or 4 different things, actually as many as you want, playing on top of each other. So that way you can hear all the sounds at the same time. So this is going to be our first track. So track 1. Then we're going to put in our start measure. In other words, where are we going to start this? We don't have to start it right away. We could wait a couple measures. Maybe there's something else going on. But we're going to start this at measure 1. And then how many measures do you want it to go? So we could go 1 measure to start, or we could go 10 measures. And maybe that's the full length of our song. But for right now, I'm going to go 1 measure to start. So there's our whole thing. And we're going to hit run. And you'll notice the top up here changes. And we get 1 measure of music. And I'm going to hit play. That kind of sounds weird. So maybe this sound needs to be a little bit longer than 1 measure. So we're going to change this from 1 measure to 5 measures. And try that. There we go. And the reason it was kind of bouncing is this is not the measure length. This is the measure that it goes to. So if I want to go just 1 measure, I have to go from measure 1 to measure 2. That'll only give me, oh, actually, let's go from measure 0 to measure 1. I think that'll work. We start counting at 0. Nope, it still doesn't like that. I guess we have to do at least 2 measures. So we're going to go from measure 1 to measure 2. And we're going to hit run. We get our 2 measures of our song, and we can see. Oh, there we go. Start at measure 1, end at measure 2. So it doesn't go all the way into measure 2. So it's actually doing 1 less than the value there to give us our measures. So if I wanted to go from start at measure 1 and go all the way up to measure 3, I'd have to go put in a 4 here. So let me run that. And I can see that it goes 1, 2, 3, and stops really at 4. It's not playing a 4th measure. It's really only 3 measures long. So this is the last measure that's not played. So there's our music. Feel free to play around and try some different sounds. So our steps for running a fit media function is first to choose a clip using the clip browser. Then after the clip named in parentheses, type a comma. Then the track number, so we're going to do track 1. Later you get tracks 2, 3, and 4. Then type another comma and start it at the start measure, which is measure 1, then type another comma, then the end measure is 5, which is really only going to give us 4 measures of music. So this will play this drum sample starting at track 1, measure 1, and only give us up to measure 5. So it won't play through measure 5, it'll stop right before measure 5. So that's the basic setup for our fit media. Try a couple. Put in a couple in there and see what kind of sounds you get. You might find something like this. So what you can see is I have some samples put in. I have a dubstep, and I have a dubstep main beat, and I have a bass volume, and the percussion goes for 9 measures from 1 through up through 10. And then I have this sound only goes on track 2, goes from 3 through 10, and so it's the last part of it. And then this sound is on track 3, and it goes through the front part of it. And when I click run, this is what I get up here, and I can see exactly where everything goes. I can see all my sound files. And if I wanted to play around with it, I could go in and change the numbers in here and hit run again. But let's kind of see what this sounds like. Move this all the way back to the beginning and hit play. And it's going to loop right back around to the front. And we get kind of a little song. It's not good, but it's something.